using JS Test Driver, Jasmine, and your browser. Welcome, Manoj.
Hi everyone, am I audible? Hello? 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 Yeah. Uh, is this okay? Am I audible? Today? Okay. First of all, welcome to JSPO. A little about me. I am Manoj Kumar, senior developer and a front-end engineer working at Multuna Software here in Bangalore. Uh, a little history about the test drive thing here at Multinas. 3 years back, we were not writing any kind of test. So if we find any bug, go to the console, write console logs, put alerts, pull your head down, fix the bug, and again test all over again, do manual testing. It was taking a lot of time to fix bugs and maintain the code. Then we decided to write Selenium tests, just record from the browser and keep running them so to assure that whatever features are built are continue to work. And slowly we moved on to writing unit tests at the backend. We usually do Rails work, so we used Aspect like JUnit for Java. And since last year, we had to work on single page applications. That means a lot of JavaScript in the front end. So Selenium was not a good option for writing unit tests. So we uh, we we started using these components like Jasmine, JSX River, and browser to start writing unit tests. Uh, Before I start with the talk, I would like you to watch this video. Here, this is the video about of our continuous integration machine where we are trying to run our JS test across different browsers. This is our build pipeline where we first run all our unit tests at the backend and then run JS tests across different environments and different browsers. These tests are for our own, one of the active client products we are working on. So we do this daily, do continuous deployment every day. So the tests are run a couple of times throughout the day. When I was taking this video, our Mac machine was little slow. So well, before I start with the actual talk, I want to know some numbers. How many of you have written any kind of test, be it in backend or frontend? Wow, that's awesome. Test in JavaScript, test for JavaScript. How many of you follow test-driven development? Few. Okay. I'll have a demo of the entire setup again, and before that, I'll walk you through briefly about test-driven development, how it helps in JavaScript. and then how we chose JS driver, Jasmine, and browser, those things. And since I've got only 20 minutes, we'll have the questions and discussions to the end of the session, so that I can run through the full overview and then discuss it. Okay? Yeah. Okay, what is test-driven development? Here, it's complete automation where developers write the test for whatever they are doing. Say, given a feature, he breaks that feature into smaller tasks, and for each task, he'll have multiple steps. Before writing actual code, he writes a failing spec first for that simple step, and then he writes enough code to make it pass. Then he'll have to refactor the code or make it better and run the test again, ensure that it's working, and do this throughout the day for completing the feature. That means each and every line code the developer is writing is already tested, right? Why do this? Why do TDD? What are the benefits? Well, there are few. Since, as I mentioned, each and every line is already having the code coverage, it ensures quality, and it is tested multiple times. If anything goes wrong, it'll be caught very easily, and developer will be writing enough code to make the failing test pass. And he'll be spending more time refactoring and making it better. The code will be simple, clean, and maintainable. And next is he'll be writing specs for each task he's gonna do. So the spec file, the test file, can act as a good documentation for your team member, or you're not there, the other person comes in. He can easily go through the specs and understand what has been implemented in that particular class of file. And the testing takes very less time with TDD tests run fast, so you can easily go ahead and make changes. Fixing bugs will also be easy. Gives high level of confidence to make any changes. When it comes to JavaScript, particularly when you are implementing web applications, the code you write will be running on browsers. Well, there are many browsers users will use, and each browser will have their own JavaScript engine. That means the code which is working in one browser may not end up working in other browser. Cross-browser issues will be there. But use of jQuery would solve that. But still, if you are writing single-page applications, you will be using many frameworks. You'll end up writing native JavaScript. So in those cases, it becomes very hard. And also, okay. So for the test setup for the JavaScript, I can briefly have three components. Say we need three components for the test setup you want for the JavaScript. Those are you need a testing framework, you need a test runner to run your test written in using a testing framework on the testing environment. We'll go through each component here and how we chose each of these components to come up with our own test setup for our JavaScript test. Okay. First, I'll start with the test environment. What are the criteria we have to follow for choosing the testing environment? It should be very close to real environment, so that whatever test you are running ensures our code works in the real environment. And as we discussed, we have many browsers to support out there. If the test environment is having a couple of browsers, then we can also tackle cross-browser issues. So what were the options we had to select test environment? We had actual browsers and headless webkits like Phantom. How many of you have heard and used Phantom? So we chose to use the actual browser systems, because it's also a criteria. It's the real environment, and we can also tackle cross-browser issues. I'll speak how we can do this using JSRiver in the coming slide. Now we have chosen the environment. Next, we'll talk about the testing framework. Uh, the criteria for choosing a testing framework for JavaScript. For us, we were following behavior-driven development. I'll talk about that very shortly. And testing framework should have very good matchers. Like it should be this, it should be that, to be equal, those kind of stuff. And it should have expectations so that I can expect for something in the test cases. And the testing framework should be independent of any JS frameworks like jQuery, Prototype, Backbone, so that I can use it in any project of mine, right? So what were the options we had? These are the popular frameworks, I can say. I have missed out many other for sure. This is not an exhaustive list. Have heard of QUnit, Jasmine, and YUI-Test. We chose Jasmine here because it's a very popular BDD framework, and it has very built-in matchers and expectations which we could readily use, and it has no dependency on any JS frameworks. Jasmine is a testing framework built by Pivotal Labs. They have open sourced it, and still very active project out there. There is also a jQuery plugin for Jasmine, where you can have more and more stronger matches, say to be defined, and we can also use selectors, those kind of stuff. For more details, we can go to Jasmine website. And the syntax is of Aspect, since we were already doing writing tests in Aspect, so it was easy for us to use Jasmine for JavaScript tests. We'll talk about a little about what is this BDD. It's no different from test-driven development. It's actually based on TDD. The only difference is the way developer writes the specs. It's like you don't write the spec for the method you are going to implement. You write the behavior you're expecting from that task. So you use plain sentences and the language which can be understood by any new member or from any team member. So it helps as a very good documentation. Famous tools out there, JBehav for Java, if you are doing a lot of Java work, and obviously Aspect. Okay, now we are done with selecting the environment and testing framework. So next is the interesting part, the test runner. Since JavaScript for web applications is mainly meant to run on browsers, it becomes a little tricky when it comes to automating the test part. So the main criteria for test runner we had was it should be easy to configure and automate, so that you can easily integrate with your continuous build machine, and no manual intervention should be there. And it should be very fast, because for unit testing we'll be running the test cases a couple of times more often. So if it is slow, it will not help us. So it should be fast. Then DOM manipulation. JavaScript is meant to make changes or play around with the DOM. So test if it allows us to do any changes to the DOM, it should be good. And then for tackling cross-browser issues, we should run in multiple browsers. That means if it has parallel execution, it will be much faster. So these were the criteria we had, and the options we had was Jasmine test runner. Most of the time, any testing framework you use, it comes up with its own test runner, especially with JavaScript testing framework. And we had JS test driver. We'll talk more about JS test driver very shortly. We chose JS test driver because it was easily very close to our criteria, and I'll discuss more about each point, how the architecture of the JS test driver helps us to achieve all these things. JS test driver project is an internal project at Google. They developed to be used internally, then they later open sourced it. It is now available at Google Code. It was mainly built focusing on making the test runner faster and easy to integrate with any testing frameworks out there. We'll briefly discuss the overview of the architecture of the JS test driver. You have your source files, that is your test files or JavaScript files in your project, and then using command line from your terminal, you can start the server. This JS test driver is built in Java, so they ship they give a jar file where you can use that to start the server, run tests, those kind of stuff. So the only dependency you have is to have a Java installed on your machine. Then you can start the server from the client. You have to mention what to load through a configuration file. Using that, the server is ready to run tests now. Before you start running tests, you can create slaves, that is actual browser slaves, by capturing a URL. Server gives a URL where you can run it in particular port. If you're in the same network, you can open in different browsers, and they start calling to the server, waiting for the commands to run the test. Okay. We'll talk about the features what this brings in. Since the starting the server and running tests is happening from a command line, it's very easy to integrate with your continuous integration machine, and then it's very easy to automate. And it also does one thing: when you start a test and it is run over the browsers, the output will be fed back into the standard output, so that you need not have to go back to the browser to see whether tests are failing or passing. You'll have it in front of you. And whenever you create a new slave, the server creates a new thread. That means JS server can listen to as many browsers as possible. So even from your mobile browsers, you can access that URL and start running tests on your mobile browsers too. So with parallel execution, that means you can also do cross-browser thing. How it manages to maintain the fast execution part, because we have source files, we have test files, it has to load onto the browser, but still we said it's very fast, right? So what it does is, when you capture a browser, it loads all your test files, the spec files, and your source files onto the browser, and it starts listening to the files that's getting changed. So most of the time when you are writing unit tests, you'll be changing a couple of files, your spec file and the actual project file. Only those two files will be reloaded in the browser, and it runs the test and shows the result. So it'll be very fast. We talked about testing framework as Jasmine and JS test runner as the test runner. How JS test driver allows any testing framework to be integrated with it. They bring in the concept of adapters. There are already open source adapters available for major testing frameworks out there. So you just have to include them in your project and you are good to go. They also have documentation on how to create your own adapters if you don't have one. So if you have your testing framework with your test files, so these adapters are the ones who will let JSS Webber know these are the test files and these are the specs you want to run. Okay, we had a lot of GAN on all the components. Now let's see it in action. Oh, okay. Good. For this demo, I've considered a Hello World kind of app where it's a simple sign-up form where you have 3 fields. The requirement is every field should be present and email should be unique. First, let's look into the test runner part. This is the project folder I'm in. There I have, you can see the jar file which is given by the JSS driver. I'll use this jar file to start the server first. I'm starting the server on the port here. I'll capture this in one of the browsers. Now, my test at Firefox, it's waiting for the command from the server to start the test to run. I'll open up one more command line. I'll run the test from here. As you can see, I'm using the same jar file to run the test too. So the configuration is very easy. I've run on the test. I have 2 specs actually. So it has ran those 2 tests and it is saying they are passed. Here I need not have to go back to the browser and check whether they have passed, and I can do this throughout the day. You just have to bring up the browsers in the morning and as many browsers as you want, but you'll be seeing the results from your machine. Let's look at the code now. This is the configuration file I was talking about. It is as simple as listing the JS files in which order that has to be loaded onto the browser. And this is the spec file. I used Jasmine. This is the Jasmine spec file. It has everything in functions. It has context setting in describes and my test unit test inside it functions. My first test was just to check whether it is the validation is working, whether it's looking for the name field is empty or not. Then the next test we'll come back to that. So most of the things can be handled here, but we have get more interesting when you have to do a lot of agiles, right? Especially when you are doing single page applications, you'll be contacting server a couple of times. But unit test, you can't have any dependency on external stuff. So to solve this, we used a library called Sinon, which gives us the mocking and spying, creating fake server facilities. This is where I'm creating the fake server, and I can control what is the response it has to give, and I can also say when it has to respond with the result. So this kind of stuff can be done with more stubbing and spying. Spying, for example, you can spy on method calls and expect whether this method has been called. These help a lot to come up with very fast unit tests and have very good test coverage for our code. Okay, so having all these options, we were left with no option but to write unit test, follow TDD in JavaScript, and feel very confident about making any changes and fixing bugs. So it really helps. Well, that's it from my talk. These are the references I used for coming with slides and preparing for the talk. I suggest this is a very good book from Christian Johnson. We refer this book to start with Jay's test. It's a good book. Thank you. Do you have any questions? How much time do you have?
You have 5 minutes for questions.
So you need to create the browser before, I mean, at the beginning of the day, and then you can run as many tests.
Yeah, that is while you are developing. For continuous integration machine, JSS driver has the option where you can start the browser instances from the command line machine.
So that can be done, right?
Yeah.
So you can run any kind of browser, is it? I mean, or is it only Firefox and Chrome? Can you even run
Any browsers which can be instantiated from the command line.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Anyone?
Can such tests understand the transitions and anything that happens and can it detect the
You mean
thing that change?
visual aspects of it?
Yeah, not exactly visual, but on timing based thing. I know visuals are very difficult, but at least timing based things.
I'm afraid that while you are writing unit tests, the transitions we usually don't write tests for it, because most of the time we will be using any framework for doing the transitions or CSS3. Sorry, I have very less experience in that. I don't. But definitely we can discuss more. I'll be available at Multiness table. We can find out more.
So you mentioned Phantom.js. So how does that fit in the entire picture? Is it like you automate it in a headless fashion without filing the browser back?
I don't have enough experience with Phantom, but most of the people prefer that, because when you are running in a development mode, it will be fast, and then since JSS gives the results in the console, you need not have to check the browser at all. But we chose the other part because it's much more closer to the real world. Sorry, I think I've not answered your question, but it's okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.